Hey guys, what is up? Mike here. Thanks for tuning in to another video. In this video, I want to talk about the concept of the best guess in UX design. Now, this concept exists today. It's a truth that exists today when it comes to problem solving, but it's not a concept or something that is actually mentioned or taught in the UX design world. I know I've never been taught this. I never learned this, but as I started to teach myself and read up about problem solving, the concept of the best guess became really apparent. And when you really understand this concept and you start to use it, you start to talk about it within your group, you start to educate people on it, what it will do, it's going to benefit you in several ways. One, it's going to allow you to, it's going to stop you from operating under the false assumption that as a UX designer you have to be 100% correct. And when you understand that and you start to talk about that amongst people and people start to understand this concept, the fact that it is a truth principle when it comes to problem solving, that you're going to be less stressful. You're not going to be so stressed out and thinking that as a UX designer, everything that I put forth, everything that I produce for my company, for my team, needs to be 100% accurate because I'm the UX designer and they're all relying on me to be the expert in solving these problems. The truth of the matter is, when it comes to problem solving, and that's what we do in UX, is that at the end result, when we go through our process, what we're putting forward is essentially a best guess. Okay, and then when you build up an experience, your best guess will become more and more accurate as you start to implement things that you learn through your experiences, if that makes any sense. So talk about the concept of the best guess. Basically, when I started to learn about problem solving, I started to read up and look at different ways on how people and organizations solve problems in many different verticals. Like one example, I think I've given this, I don't know if I've given this example a while back in the problem solving video, but basically like when we had the big oil spill, right? The BP oil spill. You had engineers, and it was like, I think, believe in the Gulf of Mexico, you had engineers for days. We had an oil just gushing out of the ocean, right? In a big pipe at the bottom of the ocean or whatever. And engineers had to get together and analyze things and try to produce a solution that capped off and stopped this oil spill. And they tried several different things before, I think that failed, and then they tried another one, and then it worked. But basically, when you go through the process of problem solving, you analyze, you start to study, you start to get all the facts that you can, and you put forth a proposal that might work, okay? And when it comes to like a problem like that BP oil spill, or let's just take politics for example, there may be several ways to solve one problem, and I'm sure you understand that in UX design there's several ways to design a website, there's several ways to you know what I mean, there's several color choices to use, there's several button types to use, there's several different UI and different structures that you can put place in an application or whatever that will solve the same problem and allow the user to accomplish the same thing. So like in politics, you have Democrats, you have Republicans. At the end of the day, these politicians are trying to solve problems. What are they trying to do? They're trying to grow the economy, trying to lower the deficit, trying to create jobs, and trying to create a great healthcare system for all everyone within the country, right? Take the US for example. I know a lot of people will watch this from different countries, but from the US standpoint, the presidents or the politicians are trying to produce these things for the Americans, right? The American people, for America. Now, they all have different ways about going about doing that, but they're all trying to get to the same place, okay? And so what they try to do is they try to put their proposals together, and it's really essentially a best guess. You don't know if it's going to work until you get results from what you're putting forth, right? And so when it comes to UX design, when you go through this process, when you gather requirements from your product owners, when you put together your task flows on really identifying what users need to do to accomplish tasks, when you do your wireframes and your mock-ups, at that point you're putting together a best guess, okay? And then, now here's what I explained in my last video, is that user testing and usability testing is sometimes optional. And what I mean by that, if you're in a small group, you're in a small, very early startup, you may not have the resources to do full-on usability studies. So what you do is, based on your best guess, without any usability studies, you put forth these screens, these mock-ups, and you start to code and you start to develop, and then from there you iterate. Because you're such a small team, you can iterate weekly, right? In these big organizations, you can't really iterate weekly, so they put forth more resources, such as UX researchers, and basically from your mock-ups, my dog's barking right here, when you put together your mock-ups, it's up to you as the UX designers and your team and UX researchers to go out there and coordinate interviews and usability studies with real clients, okay? And from the feedback that you get with those real clients, you then come back to the table and then you put forth what you learned from those usability studies. You make those changes in your mock-ups and presentations and your prototypes, and then you pass that on to development. But get this, here's the kicker. A lot of us UX designers in the world, a lot of us UX researchers, we have, folks that have degrees and things, they think because they went through that process and because they have a degree, because you are a UX designer, you think that a lot of people think that we're more special than we really are. Like, yes, we should be the person in control of trying to get to the best solution, but at the end of the day, we don't have a 100% certainty that what we put forth is 100% correct at any level. Even if the things that we learn, what we have to do still, we put forth that and we say, we should be telling our company, we should be telling our stakeholders, this is our best guess. Based on what we've learned, this is our best guess, and we're gonna put this out there, and then we're going to continue to monitor and learn from more feedback, and we're going to iterate on that. Okay, so the key words was best guess. Okay, I've been using this a lot now over the last 2 years, and a lot of people, you get, when I say that, people are kind of like shocked that I'm saying best guess, but you see sometimes there's a lot of hesitation from people maybe who have degrees and things like that, and master degrees in human computer interaction, and think that no, we can get to an accurate like a more 100% accurate sort of solution. I'm thinking, guys, it's at the end of the day, it's the best guess. Okay, now me, I feel that my best guess, and I'm probably like patting myself on the back, I feel like I can get to a best guess that is 90% accurate a bunch of the times, right? So that means, like, if you can put this in place, you can save your companies a lot of money by not having to do usability studies, not having to do research or heavy research. And the way I sort of what's the word that I'm looking for, can back that up with certainty, is that when I put together a proposed mock-up or whatnot, for me to be very, very, very accurate with my best guess, is that I'm going to keep things very simple. That's number one. And number two, I'm going to use as many web standards that exist today in other applications, so that I know that users aren't confused and trying to learn these things on the fly. Like, for example, I would never, based on what I'm just explaining to you, I would never design an app based on like Snapchat's UX, right? Snapchat is very confusing, but people had to learn that, right? There's a lot of learning that's involved in UX. So if I'm designing another app for a company, I'm not going to go that route. I would go the safe route of like a Twitter or Facebook, because those are more standard UIs, and people are more familiar with some of those standards, right? So that's kind of like my approach to things. So I like to take that approach when I'm speaking with top executives and things like that, and like, hey guys, I could save you a lot of money okay? And this is how I'm gonna save you money. We're gonna cut back on some of these resources. We're gonna cut back on this heavy expense in terms of having to do heavy lifting in terms of the research. And I'm going to, from all the requirements and things that I know, I'm gonna keep things very simple. And I'm going to keep and adhere to existing standards that exist in the web, and I'm going to assure you that we're very, very close in getting this right. But this is our best guess. We're still going to do some testing, and we're still going to learn from that, and we're still going to iterate. Okay, I said a lot in this video, but hopefully you get what I'm saying about this concept of the best guess. Okay, use it, think about it, use it in your team. Educate people on this concept. I think it's going to allow you to operate under a less stressful sort of approach, and a more humble approach, right? That you're not going to be, you don't have to be the expert, right? You're just a facilitator in getting these things as accurate as you can. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you like the things that I talk about. If you do, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment. And stick around for more videos as the days goes by and weeks. All right, I'll be putting out more and more videos as it comes to me, and we'll talk soon, guys. Peace. All right.